The morning of September 11, 2001, began like any other in the United States. However, it quickly transformed into a day etched in infamy. This day marked a turning point in modern history. A series of coordinated terrorist attacks, executed by the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda, struck at the heart of America. The events would forever change the global landscape. 4 commercial airliners were hijacked mid-flight. These planes were chosen for their long routes, ensuring they carried maximum fuel. The hijackers aimed to use these planes as weapons. Their targets included iconic structures in the United States symbolizing American financial and military power. The suddenness of the attacks left the world in shock. As news spread, people globally were glued to their screens. The horror of the events was compounded by the live broadcast of planes crashing into buildings. This global audience witnessed real-time devastation, fostering a shared sense of vulnerability. The attacks were not just an assault on physical structures, they were an attack on the ideals of freedom and democracy. The impact of these events was immediate and profound, setting the stage for significant geopolitical shifts. The world, seemingly so vast, felt suddenly small and interconnected. At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. This moment marked the beginning of a calculated assault on American soil. Initially, many presumed it was a tragic accident. However, the illusion of randomness shattered when United Airlines Flight 175 hit the South Tower at 9:03 a.m., confirming a deliberate attack. The Twin Towers, symbols of New York City's skyline, were engulfed in flames. The building's structural integrity was compromised by the intense heat generated by burning jet fuel. Despite the tower's robust design, they were unable to withstand the damage. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower collapsed, followed by the North Tower at 10:28 a.m. The collapse of the towers resulted in a massive loss of life. Thousands of office workers, emergency responders, and civilians perished. The destruction spread debris and dust over lower Manhattan. The site, later known as Ground Zero, became a somber reminder of the day's horror. The impact of witnessing the collapse was visceral and immediate. People around the world were left grappling with the scale of the tragedy. The Twin Towers were not just buildings but a representation of American prosperity and ambition. Their fall was both a literal and symbolic blow to the nation. While the world watched New York, another tragedy unfolded at the Pentagon. At 9:37 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon's western facade. The headquarters of the United States Department of Defense was now a target. This attack underscored the multifaceted nature of the terrorist plan. The Pentagon, a symbol of American military might, was severely damaged. The crash caused a partial collapse of the building's west side. A total of 189 people were killed, including the 64 aboard the plane, and 125 military and civilian personnel inside the Pentagon. The response to the Pentagon attack was swift. Emergency personnel converged on the site, battling flames and searching for survivors. The military and defense communities were deeply affected. For many, the attack on the Pentagon was a direct challenge to national security. The destruction at the Pentagon highlighted vulnerabilities in U.S. security. It was a stark reminder that no place, regardless of its defenses, was truly invulnerable. The attack further solidified the necessity for a global response to terrorism and propelled the United States into action. Not all of the terrorist plans succeeded on September 11th. United Airlines Flight 93, headed for a target in Washington, D.C., did not reach its destination. The plane's 44 passengers and crew became unwilling participants in a drama of courage and sacrifice. As the hijackers took control of the plane, passengers learned of the attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. Realizing their fate, they chose to act. A group of passengers, aware of the terrorists' intentions, mounted a counterattack. Their bravery was pivotal in averting further disaster. The struggle aboard Flight 93 ended in rural Pennsylvania. At 10:03 a.m., the plane crashed into a field near Shanksville. All on board were killed, but their actions likely saved numerous lives on the ground. The intended target, believed to be either the Capitol or the White House, remained untouched. The story of Flight 93 became a symbol of courage and resistance. It highlighted the power of collective action in the face of insurmountable odds. Their sacrifice became a narrative of hope and heroism amid a day marked by loss and devastation. Section 5. Immediate impact on the United States and the world. The immediate aftermath of the September 11th attacks saw a nation in mourning. As rescue and recovery operations began, a palpable sense of fear gripped the United States. The attacks were the deadliest in U.S. history, leaving nearly 3,000 dead and countless others injured or traumatized. Globally, the sentiment was one of solidarity with the United States. Nations around the world denounced the attacks, offering support and condolences. Vigils and memorials were held in cities globally, reflecting the universal impact of the tragedy. Economically, the attacks caused significant disruptions. The New York Stock Exchange was closed for several days. Air travel was halted, with lasting effects on the airline industry. The global economy faced uncertainty as markets reacted to the attacks' implications. Politically, the attacks catalyzed a shift in international relations. Countries united in the fight against terrorism. The events of 9/11 underscored the need for international cooperation and intelligence sharing. This collective resolve would shape foreign policies for years to come. Section 6. The War on Terror and Security Changes. In response to the attacks, the United States launched the War on Terror. This broad campaign aimed to dismantle terrorist groups and prevent future attacks. The initial focus was on al-Qaeda and its leader, Osama bin Laden, sheltered by the Taliban in Afghanistan. The U.S. military entered Afghanistan in October 2001. The goal was to dismantle al-Qaeda and remove the Taliban from power. This operation marked the beginning of a prolonged conflict in the region. Over time, the focus expanded to include Iraq, leading to the 2003 invasion aimed at toppling Saddam Hussein. Domestically, the attacks led to sweeping security changes. The establishment of the Department of Homeland Security in 2002 centralized efforts to protect the U.S. from terrorist threats. The Patriot Act expanded surveillance capabilities to track and prevent terrorist activities. The war on terror and changes in security policy have been subjects of debate. While some view these measures as necessary for safety, others criticize them for infringing on civil liberties. The balance between security and freedom remains a contentious issue in post-9/11 America. Section 7. Documentaries and Films on 9/11. The events of September 11th have inspired numerous documentaries and films. These works aim to capture the tragedy, heroism, and aftermath of the attacks. They serve as powerful reminders and educational tools for future generations. One notable documentary is Turning Point 9/11 and the War on Terror. Released on Netflix in 2021, this 5-part series explores the attacks and their global ramifications. It offers a comprehensive look at the geopolitical shifts following 9/11. Films like United 93 and Worth dramatize specific aspects of the tragedy. United 93 depicts the events aboard the doomed flight, while Worth focuses on the legal and emotional challenges of compensating victims' families. Both films offer unique perspectives on the human cost of the attacks. These works provide insight into the complexity of 9/11 and its aftermath. They engage audiences with personal stories and broader geopolitical discussions. Through these narratives, the events of September 11th remain a poignant part of contemporary discourse. Section 8. Reflections on the Lasting Legacy. The legacy of September 11th is profound and multifaceted. It reshaped the geopolitical landscape, influencing international relations and security policies. The attacks highlighted vulnerabilities and prompted a reevaluation of national and global security strategies. Culturally, the attacks left an indelible mark on society. They influenced art, literature, and media, reflecting the pervasive sense of loss and resilience. The stories of heroism and sacrifice continue to inspire and remind us of the human capacity for bravery. Memorials and commemorations serve as lasting reminders of the tragedy. The National September 11th Memorial and Museum in New York City honors the victims and educates visitors about the events of that day. These sites provide space for reflection and remembrance. The events of 9/11 continue to influence policy and society. The ongoing challenges of terrorism and security remain relevant. The attacks serve as a catalyst for ongoing dialogue about freedom, safety, and global collaboration. Section 9. Conclusion. Moving forward. The September 11th attacks irrevocably altered the course of history. They exposed vulnerabilities and inspired resilience. While the immediate impact was devastating, the response highlighted the strength of solidarity and the human spirit. In the years since, the world has changed dramatically. The lessons of 9/11 continue to inform security practices and international relations. The importance of vigilance and cooperation in combating terrorism remains paramount. As we move forward, it is crucial to balance security with civil liberties. The legacy of 9/11 challenges us to protect freedom while ensuring safety. This balance is essential in fostering a world that honors the memories of those lost. The events of September 11th will forever be a part of our collective memory. As we remember, we also look forward, striving for a future where peace and security coexist. The journey continues, shaped by the lessons of the past and the promise of a better tomorrow.